What's up, guys? You beautiful bastards. Raziel here, and this is a video for a quick tier list for World of Warcraft patch 10.2, the tank tier list for both Mythic Plus and Raid. As quick as possible, let's go.
I am Raziel.
All right, guys, so in the interest of not wasting time, I'm going to go through this as quick as possible. If you're unfamiliar with me, hi, I'm Raziel, and I've been tanking in World of Warcraft for almost 20 years. I've mostly mained Blood DK since Wrath of the Lich King, but anyway, I've played all the tanks. I know them pretty well. It's the job I like to do the most in MMORPGs, so without any further ado, let's just move forward. So right now in patch 10.2, we're ranking, these S through DSP rank. DSP, Phil Burnell being the lowest rank, of course. You're just a huge piece of shit if you're down there and need a lot of help. Anyway, all right, so we're starting out with Demon Hunters. So Vengeance Demon Hunters right now they're S tier. They have a lot of great changes that came in their rework. They're just in a really, really good place. I foresee them being the best tank in the entire expansion during this patch, with one caveat, which I'll get to in a bit. Going right on down the line, A tier, we have a Prot Paladin. Prot Paladin has been solid this whole expansion, and it's going to stay that way in A. Their self-sustain and their ability to mitigate both physical and magical damage is great. They're fantastic, so they're going to stay in A tier. Remember, this is for Mythic Plus and rating, so all these tank rankings right now. And again, everything is subject to change depending on what Blizzard does. We're probably going to see some buffs. So next up, we have the Guardian Druid, and unfortunately right now Guardian Druid is just in a really bad place. It's a Phil Burnell. I mean, it's straight up, kind of in a spot where it got nerfed a lot. Its mitigation and its self-sustain got nerfed a lot. I fully expect to see these get buffed in the first few weeks. Now, bear in mind, every single class in the game can still do any raid difficulty. They're going to lower ranked tanks are going to struggle a little bit in mythic raids, but not overall. You'll be able to beat all the content in the game with any tank. So remember, it's always better to be really good at a class. I would take a class that is a player that's exceptional playing a dog shit class than a dog shit player playing an exceptional class. I mean, it's always better to play what you love, fuck the meta, play what you enjoy, what you want to. This tier list is just, for fun. But it's still factually true, I think. Anyway, moving on. All right, Prot Warrior right now. I'm going to put Prot Warrior down in B tier. Prot Warrior is still really good. It does very well against physical damage, and it has some tools now for magical damage, but it's just nowhere on par with keeping up with magical damage as the other two tanks we have ranked so far, or the Blood DK, which is next on the list. So not a bad choice. It still has a lot of mobility too. The second most mobile tank in the game outside of Demon Hunter, but still, it has room for improvement. Moving on to Blood DK. This is what I've been maining for a long time. It is easily an A tier. I would say that you could swap these around if you wanted to. It just depends. I'm going to put it a bit below Prot Paladin right now, but Blood DK is in a really good spot. It's 4-piece. It's coming in the new expansion. Tier Piece set is going to dramatically increase its damage. Its damage is going to be really good in Mythic Plus and in Raids, and its magical survivability is unparalleled in the game. It's the best in the game. Now, where Blood DK struggles is in very, very high keys in Mythic Plus because of how its mitigation works. It's still facing that issue of getting globaled on a big pull on really high keys. And by high keys, I'm talking like 20 plus, right? Which a lot of people don't do. A lot of people don't do keys that high, which is fine. So if you're not doing those keys, don't worry about it. Now, the one caveat I mentioned earlier is Blood DK, because it is the only tank in the game that's going to be able to get the legendary two-handed weapon, and we don't have information yet on what that two-handed weapon does. If that two-handed weapon does nothing much for like its survivability or anything like that, it's going to stay at where it's at in A tier. If it's just a huge boost in damage, it'll probably then now go above Paladin. But if it helps its survivability a lot, especially Mythic Plus, it'll Blood DK depending on how the legendary works out. We'll jump up here. Sorry, airplane going over my head. Let's wait for it to go by. All right. Now moving on to the final Brewmaster. I mean, I think Brewmaster is right here with in the B tier. It's still a really good tank. It's going to do fine in Mythic Plus. It doesn't have even the same global disadvantages that Blood DK has going into high Mythic Plus keys. It got some buffs during for the patch, but it's still, I would still say Warrior. They're pretty even, Warrior and Brewmaster, but I would say they're kind of you could go with either one and you wouldn't feel that much of a difference in terms of survivability. It depends on just playstyle at that point. But anyway, guys, this has been my tank tier list for 10.2. Thoughts, comments below. What do you think about the tier list? I really hope Guardian Druid gets buffed. Druids as a whole this expansion have kind of been in a shitty position. All of their specs really. Feral's actually looking decent this time around, but yeah, Moonkin is probably going to be above average to mid. But yeah, Guardian struggled this kind of for a lot of this expansion. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Anyway, guys, comments down below. And as always, my friends, keep it real.